Welcome back, Nitwits. It's Damo99, aka Slippery Pickle, and with me as always is...
Game Over Joey, a.k.a. the sexy one.
Welcome back indeed. We are here for a fun topic today, in my opinion. The most anticipated games for 2021, and our prediction of the biggest bust is 2021. So I'm going to jump right into this, Joe. We're going to go back and forth. We'll say a game, and let me know if it's on your list. You ready?
All right, sounds good.
So I'm going to put what I have ranked number one, and I think most people have it now because of the Game Awards. Elden Ring, number one, most anticipated game. I think we both have talked about this one before. I think you more so than me.
My guy, Elden Ring is definitely on my list. Nothing's in particular order for me, so it's not labeled. But I will say, definitely one of the most anticipated games. I've been following this game for a very long time, and the fact that it's coming into fruition after several years, I am geeked for it. I hope we do see it in 2021. Hope there's no postpone, but absolutely highly anticipated.
I think you made me, notice this game. I laughed when I saw it on the Game Awards. You told me to shut up and showed me videos of it. Amazing looking game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, most anticipated game of the year from the Game Awards. So I wanted to start off with the big one. And now I'm going to go with my fun one here. I put Gotham Knights on my list.
Okay.
I think in general the Gotham series is all underrated. That's just me. I know a couple people that absolutely love it, but no one ever labels it as like a must play or anything. And I feel it always is right under the radar, has a great cult following. It's one of those games I'm really looking forward to. I think it'll be cool to use different Batman characters just throughout, jumping back and forth. So it's a game that definitely we're going to learn more about, and I'm confident will be out in 2021.
So I actually have that on my list as well. Gotham Knights is something my list is probably a lot larger than it needs to be. But I will say Gotham Knights looks absolutely amazing. I know we talked about it when we saw it. It was a shocker for a lot of people. It was so well kept that when they did the trailer, the announcement, I was geeked. I remember I texted you. The first thing I said, "Oh my freaking God, this looks absolutely astounding." I'm super excited for it. I think it's going to be great. I do think switching in between different Batman characters or just that kind of that genre is going to be phenomenal. I do think that it's going to play great. It's backed by a great studio. I think we'll see it this year for sure too. Warner Brothers needs to drop something anyway.
Overdue.
Way overdue, and I'm super excited.
Give me another on your list here.
Yeah, let's do that. Hogwarts Legacy.
That was my next one.
My God. This game, you know how big of a Harry Potter fan I am. I can legitimately say I've seen the movies a billion times. And actually, a matter of fact, do you recall when we were at work, I texted my mom, and I said, "Hey, Mom, how many times have I seen these movies?" And she said a billion times. That was her response. I have watched... I literally will watch the series once a week. I think it is one of the best... I'm not even going to say movies ever made. I'm not saying the best... Well, they're the best in my eyes. But love it. Absolutely excited for this. To run around Hogwarts and just to be a young wizard. It takes place in the 1800s. So, a little before Harry's time. But... I'm excited. I'm really geeked to see what they do. I know it's multiplayer, so I can't wait to be a young wizard with you, Nam. And I think not only that, you get to choose to be good or bad. I think that is freaking awesome. Imagine Bully in the Hogwarts universe. That's what you got to compare it to. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a blast.
I mean, I'm hoping they have Quidditch in there.
Oh, absolutely.
There has to be something. And more importantly, I'm going to be so proud to be able to be a Hufflepuff. Officially.
Amen to that, brother.
Honey badgers don't care. It's the number one thing in the world right now in my mind in that game.
I agree.
So I think both this one's going to be an obvious one for us. Back for Blood. Most anticipated.
Yes, so that actually does jump to my top of the list.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people are going to think, like, Back for Blood, it's just freaking Left 4 Dead. But that's why!
So we are overdue.
Way overdue. I was a massive, I shouldn't say was, I still am a massive fan of 1 and 2. I still play it on PC with mods. To keep it fresh, of course. But the back in 2009 is when Left 4 Dead 2 dropped. That's number 2, right? Mm-hmm. And that was the last time we saw anything like that game. You can say, well, there was other games out there like Evolve. No, nothing like Left 4 Dead has been dropped or nearly as good as Left 4 Dead. You can say Killzone, but that doesn't count in my eyes either. Not Killzone, I'm sorry. Killing Floor. But Left 4 Dead, amazing, 1 and 2, made by the same developers. Back 4 Blood is taking it a step farther with the difficulty, the amount of special infected, the maps at launch. It's the same core concept gameplay, but hey, it's going to be better.
I think Back 4 Blood, long overdue game. I think it's going to have a lot of hype building once people realize the name Back 4 Blood is really just Left 4 Dead 3. Getting away from Valve, I think, will be good for them because clearly they gave up on them. So, super excited. Yet again, I played a ton of Left 4 Dead 2. I know you played about quadruple more than me, which is impressive. But I'm going to go into, and I'm just going to open this one up because I'm just waiting for the true version of Cyberpunk 2077 as my most anticipated games. I think Cyberpunk came out too early. That's up for debate. I know you love it. But I think it's been very just bashed and ridiculed. And I think it's going to have a resurgence here once it actually gets its stuff together and smooths out. Great game coming.
Yeah, I agree with you to a lot of your extent. I don't agree with the full thing because on PC, it runs beautifully. I can... I do have a closer of a $4,000 PC, so it's not easy to run on PC. But I will tell you, the way the game looks, the way the game feels on PC is absolutely remarkable. It definitely set that next gen feeling, I must say, but there are some things that they need in the game. And I know a lot of people are comparing it to GTA 5, and people are saying that's not fair. But the difference between Cyberpunk and GTA 5 did a remarkable job with making the world feel more immersive. So I played quite a bit of the game. I played a couple hundred hours now. So one of the things I can't stand in Cyberpunk is that the vendors in the world, you can't go up and talk to them. You can't buy from them, so you can't really interact with them. And that is a missed opportunity. I should be able to walk up to the hot dog stand and buy a hot dog, okay? You should be able to do that. GTA 5 does that.
With mustard.
Yeah, with mustard. Like, jeez. So I think there's a lot of missed opportunity there, but I wouldn't disagree with you. For consoles, I do feel bad for the people that didn't get to play it. I got the opportunity. I got to enjoy myself. I got to beat the story. I really enjoyed the story. The story was really good. The game itself is to me is a gem, and there's not many of them many out there. Can't even speak. Many out there like this, but again, that's up for debate. But yeah, absolutely. So I have a few more on my list. I'm just going to go ahead and name some.
Okay.
And tell me your feedback on these because, as you know, I love video games. Right? For me. And it's hard to make a list like this, and I just couldn't restrain myself. I know I should have just made that list of 5, but I made like 9 or 10. I couldn't stop myself. But on the list, I have Far Cry 6.
I had my honorable mention.
Oh, Far Cry 6, I am so geeked for. I think I love the Far Cry series in general. I've beaten every single game from the very first one. Far Cry 3 has a special place in my heart, always will.
Voss.
Yes, best villain ever. Well, close. I mean, the Joker. I mean, again, played by.
We have a villain that did win Game Character of the Year, so Voss and Joker. I believe they're the two, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. You're supposed to say played by, and I was.
Oh, Mark Hamill.
There we go. No, there.
Which another great secret kept under wraps there by Mark Hamill this year.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I absolutely thought it was fantastic. Both of them did a phenomenal job when playing their characters. But Voss, special place in my heart. Especially the scene when you first get captured and you're in there with your brother. Absolutely a classic saying. His insanity saying when he repeats himself, you're sitting up and you have the brick tied around you, you're being pushed down into like sinkhole. Amazing. So many iconic things there. The other one I want to go ahead and name off too is God of War, Ragnarok. Oh my God. If that drops this year, let's just talk about it. Last God of War in 2018?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is it 19?
19.
It was absolutely stunning. It was a game changer. And Ragnarok is quoted, supposed to be dropping this year. I think it's going to be pushed to 2022, my opinion. But absolutely excited for this game.
So God of War was 2018. I apologize.
Okay.
So you're right. I have a somewhat special place in my heart for God of War, but I sort of hate it because it beat Red Dead Redemption 2 for Game of the Year.
Okay.
I did not put God of War on my list.
Oh,
I know.
I have
it's one of the few things that we've ever disagreed on there.
I have a couple more actually.
I got one guarantee that I have two more on my honorable mention, and I got one guarantee is on your list.
Okay.
Because you've never shut up about this game once you get rolling on it. You've convinced one of our coworkers to get this game, and she is obsessed with it. And it is Horizon Forbidden West.
It's on my list. So let me just say, I played the shit out of the last game, okay? Horizon Zero Dawn was absolutely a phenomenal game. It was a game that literally pushed the PlayStation to its limits. And it was so immersive. And it was one of those games where I really lost myself. I really disconnected from the world around me. Was able just to stare at my television and get lost. And it was absolutely phenomenal. A game, if you haven't played it, you have not played a real video game. I'm just going to say that. Because that game set new boundaries and new expectations of how games need to be going forward. You can say the same for God of War, but in my opinion, I loved Horizon Zero Dawn better than God of War. And I put a ton of hours in both, but I am somebody who really prefers that open world, do whatever I want, immersive atmosphere. And Horizon Zero Dawn did it for me. So for Forbidden West, knowing it's coming supposedly this year, I think it would push back again. But if it comes out this year, with what the tech demo that they showed us was absolutely amazing. There's no doubt in my mind this game's going to drop and get 9.5s and 10s all day.
You know, the weird thing is how last year has been with coronavirus and everything and shutting down and coming back. It's going to be interesting what games push forward and still release if they're not ready, especially after seeing how Cyberpunk just went.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious how that will affect, and I'm sure we'll have an update throughout other times on this channel of like games that aren't going to do or games that are pushing through. Because I think, you know, we're talking about a lot of these games, and some of these are heavy hitters. I mean, a lot of these are legacy games for certain consoles. I mean, God of War, when you think of a main character for PlayStation, you think of Kratos. So will we get another Kratos now to introduce us into the new generation of systems? On Microsoft's side, Halo, which I know is on your list.
Yep.
Are we going to get Halo this year? I know you were like, it's 100% going to happen. I just think with everything going on, I think it's one of those two where you're like, will they push it through?
Yes. So here's my thing, and here's the reason why I stand by my statement, and I know for a fact I would put everything on this. And the only reason I say that with that confidence is because Phil Spencer said himself, we did our last podcast was on this.
Yep.
He said the way this console war is going to be won is depending on the games that release in 2021 at the holiday season. I guarantee, 100% guarantee, Halo Infinite will be out this year because Phil Spencer knows that's going to push Game Pass and the Series X, Without it, it's not going to push as much. Now, with that, at the end of the day, they need that to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and they're not going to push it back again. If you don't recall, remember it was supposed to come out last year with the Series X at launch, and the reason why it did not was because people were mad. It doesn't look like next gen graphics. There's not even ray tracing in the game, and then they said, okay, you know what? We're going to push it back a year. Add that day one patch that we promised you guys. Well, not day one patch. I'm sorry. It was going to be a
patch.
Yeah, the major patch that was going to come out a few months after the game had launch. So this patch is already being worked on, right? So I am a firm believer of that. Since it's already been being worked on by 343 Industries, that patch will just be implemented into the damn disc or whatever digital download, whatever you get. And you're going to get everything day one this time. And the game will look a heck of a lot better. I do think we're going to get a sneak peek at E3 this year. I think they're going to show us that. And I think the game will... I take that back. I know the game will release. That's how confident I am. But I actually have a few more mentions, too.
Hey, go ahead.
My next one that I am a massive fan of. One of my favorite games of all time ever made. Overwatch. Overwatch 2... It's supposed to be rumored to be coming out this year. And if that does happen this holiday season, around September, October-ish time, it's going to get me hooked. I will be back on my binge.
I was say, we can all count you away from everything.
Yes. Yes. And my life will be taken away from me.
Worf.
The next one for me is Fable. Oh my God.
I love that game.
So do I. Fable 1, especially Lost Chapters, was it was really a trendsetter at the time, right? It was the first RPG, in my opinion, that really got me hooked on RPGs. Now you can argue Morrowind and so forth. Yeah, those were fantastic, but Fable had that special place in my heart. I think the humor played a big factor in that too.
Well, I think that's what made it so great, though. Is it was something you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
You didn't think a game would be... Because it looked cartoony and goofy, but then it seemed serious. But then all of a sudden, like, they're just little goof things where it's like, man, like, this is fun. Like, you didn't have to be in a mood to have to play a game. You could be, like, just relaxed. Like, I want to lay here on my couch and play a game and pop Fable in and play for, 6 hours all of a sudden.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm so excited to play it. I think it's going to be... a banger. That's it. Fable's going to sell the console as well. If Fable and Halo launch this year, game changer. Last but not least, Outriders. I've been talking about this for a long time.
Okay.
What'd you say wow for?
Because I have a game on my honorable mention that I thought you would guarantee say, but you talk about Outliers first.
Outriders looks absolutely amazing for me. So, I love grind, okay? So, I love Borderlands. I love Destiny. Destiny, the Witch Queen, by the way, when it drops later this year, it looks absolutely awesome, too. But, that's just a DLC, though. I am super, super, super geeked for Outriders. It is a game that has that grinding element. It's made by Square Enix. And they have a pretty good reputation. I know they've messed up in the past, don't get me wrong. But I've been following a lot of YouTubers who have been getting early access, and they have been saying nothing but positives about Outriders. Now, this game may flop at the end of the day since it is a service game. Even though they claim it's not going to be a service game, let's be real. That's what it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm
super, super stoked for it. And I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of games that I still want to mention, but I don't want to make this go on forever. But there are so many.
Okay, two more I want to throw in.
Okay.
The one I thought for sure I put on my honorable mention, Deathloop, I think looks fun.
Okay.
A little bit different, but more importantly, it's the company that's working on it is why I have faith in it, and that's Bethesda. So I feel most things they touch turn to gold.
Yeah, if for the next Elder Scrolls game and then which is I assume this is going to be on your list. Go ahead, say it. It's a Bethesda game.
it's the game of the year. I mean, you just run with it, so I can just jump in and correct you if I need to.
No, I want to know if I'm right.
What, the game of the year, Mass Effect?
Oh, oh, why? Why?
Because Mass Effect 1 and 2, arguably some of the greatest games of all time. Fight me over it. I'm fine with that.
Oh my!
I have gotten into so many arguments with everybody. Mass Effect 2 was one of the coolest things ever. Like, I felt like everything I did mattered, and everything built up, and I made all my choices. I did everything, and I felt so cool commanding my ship. Walking around going Rex, just hearing go Shepard. Mass Effect to me is one of those games where I hope it gets recognition and love this year, because I know I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna play a ton of it, and I'll probably buy it for whatever I can in all my systems. But
so
yeah, you don't like remasters being on any list. I understand.
I don't. So again, I played all the Mass Effects. I even played Andromeda, that piece of shit, right?
That doesn't count. And 3 doesn't really count either. But it was there.
But here's the point: I played them all, and I played them a lot. Okay, and I thought they were great games. Don't get me wrong. But not Game of the Year great. Maybe back then.
Mass Effect 2 is Game of the Year.
Oh my god!
You put some respect.
Hey! Anyone that watches this is going to give us a dislike just because you said that. I
don't care.
Well, yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Hey, any publicity, please pause the publicity.
Yeah. Contact all the BioWare. Let them know I'm speaking of it, so they give me early access to it. I'll promote
They reach out to them. Hey, can you promote our game? A matter of fact, this will help you grow your channel.
Yeah.
On top of your guys' channel growing because of us giving you the game early access, we want you to become a community manager, put you on a $100,000 salary just to answer form questions about the next Mass Effect. Okay.
I would have a 6-foot Rex behind me and like a 6-foot Garrus right behind me on every stream. Just giant fat heads.
Well, I am really shocked that actually is going...
Are wordless. It's completely silent.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. Okay,
there's no disappointment.
That's what it comes down to. Is I'm disappointed. And then Deathloop. Oh my god, are you serious?
I think Deathloop's gonna be fun, and I think it's a game that doesn't get any love, but more so, like I said, I'm putting on there because I have faith in Bethesda.
Okay, I love Bethesda, as you know. I want Starfield to come out this year. It's just not going to happen, which is why it's not on my list. I want Elder Scrolls to drop here soon. It's not happening in time. I want the next Fallout 5. It's not going to happen anytime soon. The problem is with Deathloop, Bethesda's the publisher, not the developer. That's Arcane Studios, right?
I know.
Arcane Studios does have a good reputation. I am actually a fan of it. I played Prey. I played Dishonored. I played Dishonored 2. I played, what was the one back from the far, far old days? Like 2002. Why can't I think of the damn name? I played Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. I played a lot of their games. BioShock 2 was on their name, under them. So they do have really good games underneath
Another great franchise.
Love them. But my problem with the actual game itself is I have been following it for some time as well, and I watch all the trailers. It looks like fun. What I don't like, and Square Enix did this with the Final Fantasy game. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Lightning Returns. It's what they did was put a timer on how much time you have to beat the game itself, right? Mm-hmm. And if I'm not
like Heavy Rain.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a big complaint on that.
You shouldn't put that type of time limit on a game, and they have something very similar like that in this game, and I'm scared. Like, that's what I think is going to ruin Deathloop. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read something about that, and that was a deterrent for me. I do think it's going to be a fun game, but again, there's no way in hell it's going to make Game of the Year if all these games that we talked about today drop.
Nope.
There's not even going to. Matter of fact, I'm going to predict Game of the Year.
Okay.
Here's my edgy. Hey, when we did that last podcast about, I was dead accurate on literally every category, right?
You were.
And
Almost,
here's what I'm gonna say. It's as much as I want to say I want it to be Horizon Forbidden West or Fable, or really my all-time, I would want it to be Hogwarts Legacy or Back for Blood. It's not going to happen. It's either going to fall with Elden Ring. That's a fact. Guarantee it. God of War, if God of War does drop. And it's going to be between those two. Halo Infinite is not going to stand a chance against those two titles.
It will be on there, though, for the respect.
Oh, absolutely, but it's not going to stand a chance. And I think Hogwarts Legacy will be on that list. But at the end of the day, Elden Ring and I think God of War will make it to the final two. And I think it's going to probably go to God of War. Even though I wanted to go to Elden Ring. I really... Actually, I take that back, because Elden Ring, man, the followers on that. Because remember, it's not even by us. It's by... 90% is by the actual community, the developers. I'm saying Elden Ring. I'm giving it to Elden Ring.
Since I can't pick Mass Effect, and I don't want to pick Elden Ring because you just picked it.
Okay.
I just don't think Halo or God of War is going to have it this year. I think people are going to expect a lot out of both of them. So I'll go with a dark horse and go with Hogwarts if it pulls off and comes out. I just think the community will go crazy for it, and I think we'll bring a lot of different type of gamers into it. And when everyone sees that, people are going to get attracted to it. It's kind of like the effect of The Last of Us 2 and them trying to be edgy and cool. I think it's going to just attract a different kind of gamer and a different kind of attention, and I think that's what the game community always tries to focus on. So if Hogwarts really is a great game, really pulls it off, even if it's only like a 8 and the other games are all 10s, I think that will stand the chance to jump it just because it's new, it's fresh, and it's Harry Potter.
So is Elden Ring. Here's my argument.
But it's not Harry Potter.
But here's my argument. I said I would
Elden
love...
Ring now has standards.
But Hogwarts is what I would want to win. Hogwarts Legacy is what... Don't say Harry Potter, because it's not really Harry Potter. Because if it was Harry Potter, like, they would have...
Harry Potter has a legacy.
Yes. That's what I was saying. If it's Harry Potter, it would be like... At the end of the day, Hogwarts Legacy, would I want it to win, like I said? Yes. That would be my game of the year. And I think it may even be my game of the year when I look at this list, because I think about how much I love that universe. But if we're being realistic, Elden Ring, with the expectations, and a matter of fact, if we wanted to be technical here, and we really want to look into the specifics, it's by From Software. And then George R.R. Martin is involved in this.
Well, that means the writing will never get done. God.
But all I'm getting at is, so far what we've seen, if you're making a Skyrim, okay, and I know this can be, people are going to say, don't say that. It is an open world game, okay, go wherever you want, sandbox, with a difficulty level of Dark Souls. And except it's going to be more technical phase, still RPG focused, it's going to be very hard for Hogwarts Legacy to pull off the game of the year. Do I want Hogwarts Legacy to take it? I would 100% agree with you, yes. But Elden Ring, with the leaked images that we've seen and the short trailer we've seen, I honestly have such high expectations for it that they're going to win.
All eyes are going to be on Elden Ring. It kind of, I mean, it's been in the community for a while, but now it's out in the spotlight fully. So it's going to be judged hardcore. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it.
Absolutely.
And I think going into being judged hardcore, let's go with your prediction for the biggest bust of 2021. So
that's hard for me, because when I think about the biggest bust, right, I think about a game, not necessarily that's bad, but that, are we focusing on bad or a game that's just not going to do as well as we thought? Because
yes. we can do one of each.
Okay. Out of my list here, I'm going to say probably Outriders. Because
for won't do as good, or
yeah, it won't do it.
Just complete bust,
complete bust. Just because, again, it is that loot grinding game that so many companies try to do that they never get right. I think, you have your Borderlands, your Destiny that have finally discovered that formula.
Mhm.
Your Diablos, I know it's a strategy, it's a top-down game, but at the end of the day, they kind of have mastered that. And I think Outriders is going to be a complete bust. Even though it's a highly anticipated game for me, I hope that's not what happens. And then follow by, I'm going to go ahead and just do my announcement on what I think won't sell as well. I think Halo Infinite is not going to do as hot. And the reason for that is just for the sole fact, Halo hasn't been as good since Bungie owned it, or no, I shouldn't say owned it, developed it. I think the multiplayer will always stay strong because of the Xbox community. But I do think that after this past E3, it had so much negative publicity to the point where, I mean, the game's what's it called? Master Chief Collection got review bombed on Steam. And people really were very vocal about it. And yes, Microsoft did the right thing. But let's just think. Gamers can be... how do I put this nicely? Help me out here, Dom.
They're very protective of the things they love.
Sure, we'll say that. And I think at the end of the day, with that, is that... Look at Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk has a few lawsuits against them. And here's the thing, you can say rightfully so all you want, but at the end of the day, yes, they advertise their game. You're not going to advertise your game as a shit game ever. If you're developing a game, you truly believe this game is great. Yeah, maybe they didn't, but no one can prove that. You decided to take their word on it and buy the game. Don't say no other developer or no game has ever came out like this, because you'd be completely wrong. It is now 2021, and probably within the last 7-8 years, we've had bust games all the time. So, that's kind of my opinion on that. But
Anthem.
there's another one, but they didn't get all this stuff that happened. I think, again, people had higher expectations for Cyberpunk because CD Projekt Red has such a good name, and I think that the building the reputation is the bigger focus now because it's going to be hard to do.
It was essentially, I mean, being Rockstar and coming out with like just a horrible game, people would flip their lid on Rockstar.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's just certain developers are held to different standards, certain, and it's like, oh, they're not some independent little indie company, anything like that. These are major studios that we expect, perfection from.
I agree. So let's hear yours.
So my biggest bust, and I basically have this chalked for it, is Halo Infinite. I have no faith in 343 Studios. The open world concept I think sounds amazing, but games struggle when they do it for the first time. Anthem was my example of that. I think the idea of it is amazing, but games that are successful as open world normally have niches and things that they love or they've been developed over years, and we've gotten used to them. And Borderlands, when you played one, if you go back and play one, you're like, God, this game sucks. But at the time, it was like, whoa, this is amazing. And I feel like Halo being what Halo is, it will not get that same luxury to slowly build up and slowly be given a chance. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to come in. I think it's going to struggle hard, and then we're going to get a nice big reboot down the road, kind of like Anthem is doing currently. Kind of like Borderlands 3 did in a way. It did not have the best opening, patched up and good. Yeah. And I feel Borderlands 3 is a lot of fun now. But, I feel a lot of these games that are like that take time, even after they come out, because they wait for people to tell them what sucks about it.
Yeah.
And critics are definitely different than gamers.
Oh, yeah,
Gamers are
absolutely.
passionate about what they do, and they'll just tell you outright, you ruined everything here.
I think Halo Infinite is going to get it right. Only because, and it's not just because I like Halo in general. I say in the regards to, they listened to our feedback, right? Mm-hmm. And they did the right thing. And I just can't see Phil Spencer allowing that to happen since, Microsoft does own that franchise, not 343 Industries.
It doesn't just own that franchise. I mean, that's the face of Xbox.
Right. So I think at the end of the day, I really think it's not gonna, it's not gonna be a bust. I can see why some people are feeling that way. But at the end of the day, I know I just repeated myself like 4 times saying at the end of the day, but I don't really think it's going to be a bust. I hope not. And if it is, I'm going to be very disappointed because I am a fan. I didn't get that same disappointment with Cyberpunk. It played great for me, and I didn't have so many bugs on PC like a lot of people had on consoles. So at the end of the day, again, I repeated myself, but I really enjoyed it, and I think with Halo, I will probably be buying it on PC, or not buying it. I have what's it called, Game Pass, so I'll be playing it on PC, and I think it will drop and be a great game.
I mean, I root for it, but I don't see it happening. I think Xbox is going to struggle until those like 30 billion studios they own start pumping out more games, and they just get their own flow going. I feel they're just looking for a heavy hitter right now, especially after PlayStation is, I feel, winning as of right now. I know you'll argue that they're not, but I feel PlayStation right now has the better name, especially going from the PS4, how it won the console war. So I feel it has an easier go with everything.
I couldn't disagree with you, and I think we talked about this in the past. Like, I mainly PC games, so I don't have a subjective point of view in regards to which console's better. But I am somebody who's very. I look at the stats, the actual, the number with the processing power, how strong the console is, and that appeals to me more than the past. And the truth of the matter is, Xbox Series X is 20 to 30% faster than the PS5. That's a fact. There's no arguing that. Look at the stats. And I think that I agree with you. Once they do start cranking out games like Fable, Avowed, The Medium, Halo, these studios that Microsoft owns, they're going to crush PlayStation going forward once they get a rhythm and games coming out on a yearly basis. That there's no arguing that going forward. PlayStation doesn't have the money to be able to do this. And I do agree with you. I do think PlayStation 5 had the better launch in regards to how excited people were. Both of them have great launches. Both consoles are still sold out. But again, I do think as of right now, PS5 is ahead, but won't be very long. I do want to bring up one last thing though. As you know,
subscribe and comment.
No, one more thing before we do that. Just because Rainbow Six Quarantine. Okay. Obviously, I'm a huge Rainbow Siege fan, and Rainbow Six Quarantine is Rainbow basically put with zombies in it, and I am so excited for that. It's supposed to be dropping this year too. Just know, I think Back 4 Blood's still going to destroy it, but the point is, if I get to play as Legion or somebody with zombies, that's going to be epic. That's how I want to end this right here. Go ahead.
I'm perfectly fine with it. Hey, as always, everyone, comment, like, subscribe, yell at us, tell we're awesome, tell us whose voice sounds sexier, whatever you want to do. Say pineapples in the comments. I'm cool with that.
All right, boys. Big Sexy out.
Have a good one, everyone.